Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks, and this is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are part of my wisdom. We got some good content for you today. Still got some updates as far as the rebrand, but first, of course, as always, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any content. Follow us on all your major streaming platforms and social media, Instagram and TikTok. But D-Lo, let's get into it, man. You know, how was the last week? You know, we did the coming back for season 2. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And we had some good news for the people. But how was the last week, my boy?
Last week was good, man. So if you listen to this podcast before today, you already know what I'm about to say, but I'm still gonna say it. I spent some time with the family, man. You know, got some great time with the family. Had some extended family come in. You know, my god brother was inducted to the Wake Forest Hall of Fame, so he was in town. Yep, shout out. So he was in town. You know, got a chance to spend time with them and, you know, just loving life, man. I got a question for you though. Well, after I ask how has it been for you, I got a question for you. So how's the week for you last week?
The week has been different, man. The week has been different. As y'all know, if y'all listened to the podcast last week, I got promoted to finance manager at my job. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different environment whenever you're in charge of so much more stuff. Because as a salesperson, you're just in charge of yourself and making your own phone calls. But as a finance manager and as an assistant manager at the dealership now, I'm in charge of everybody else. So it's something that I'm used to, being an athlete, being a leader, being, you know, one of those. But now it's a little bit different in the corporate world. So I'm making the adjustment pretty seamless, honestly. But it's definitely a different environment for sure. So that's been fun. Of course, as usual, like D-Lo said, if you've been listening to the podcast prior to today, spending time with Sam, you know, making sure I get that time in with her. She's the only reason why I'm in Washington in the first place. So I got to make sure that time is spent well. But it's been a change, but it's been a good change, bro. It's been a good change. What question you got for me, though? I'm a little nervous.
Nah, don't be nervous. Well, I mean, I guess you can. Depending on who listens to this podcast or whatnot. But you know, Tuesday is Valentine's Day.
Oh,
what plans you got for Valentine's Day, bro? What the love day looking like?
So listen, man. Listen.
Don't do it too crazy now. Watch what you say.
So, you know, Monday I got to work. Tuesday I'm off. You know that, right?
Ooh.
Tuesday I'm off, right?
Yep.
So it's this one girl called Couch that I got a date with.
Bet.
I got a date with this girl right here sitting beside me. Her name is Couch.
Yeah.
We'll be laid up watching TV all motherfucking day.
She gonna get you in there.
Look, man, but she at BBW. Look at her. Boy, she fine too. She fine too.
Okay. That's what's up.
Nah, I ain't got no plans for Valentine's Day, man. If anything, you know, I'll just, you know, send some flowers to Sam at school or something like that. Just kind of chill out.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's gonna be me and Couch chilling out.
I feel you. I'm not doing anything. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not doing anything.
But don't get yourself in trouble now.
Exactly. I'm telling you not to get yourself in trouble, and I'm about to get myself in trouble. But you know, I hate these holidays, man. These type of holidays, because it's basically a money grab. You know what I mean? I mean, all the holidays really are money grabs, because, you know, we spend the time with the people that we love on a daily basis, and then these holidays pop up and you feel obligated to spend money on somebody. And you know, I'm kind of frugal and cheap, so these days make me a little bit uncomfortable. Both. Yeah, they make me uncomfortable. But I think I will be getting my wife some type of gift. I don't know exactly what yet, and probably do what you do. What you said is get Sage something sent to the school or whatnot. But other than that, I'm not doing much. We're working, planning on going. Well, we're taking a trip this week, so we're packing for that.
Okay, that's what's up. What's up. But so what's the topics for the day, D-Lo? What we got going on?
We got some good topics today, man. Super Bowl is tonight, so we're going to talk about Rhianna not getting paid to perform at the halftime show.
Excuse me.
We're also going to talk about LeBron James breaking Kareem scoring record, and basically, I won't say aftermath, but the after effects of that in the eyes of Kareem Abdul Jabbar.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last segment, we'll talk about, continue to talk about the changes that we're going to make within the podcast.
For sure. Let's get it.
Right into it. So, as I mentioned tonight, Rhianna is slated to perform at the halftime of the Super Bowl, an event that has almost become as important as the game, right? Earlier this week, however, we found out that she will not be getting paid for her performance at the Super Bowl, as well as others before her also have not been paid to perform at the halftime show. So, Sticks, getting right into it. What's your thoughts on the NFL not paying their halftime performers?
So when we were talking about doing this topic to begin the week, right? Or well, we were talking about it last week or over the weekend. I was like, bro, ain't no way Super Bowl ain't been paying these folks. Ain't no way. Like it just sound to me, it just sound dumb. Like I said, bro, you lying. Like she getting paid. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then the more you do the research, so it begins to get a little complex, right? So this is gonna be her first pop out since really she's been in the hiatus for the last 7 years. She ain't did nothing since 2016 when she dropped that Anti-Art album, right?
Mm-hmm. Music wise, she hasn't done anything.
Music wise, right? But she been all over the place. Of course, she just had a kid with ASAP. You know what I'm saying? She been doing her Fenty beauty brand.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in the public eye. You know what I'm saying? But she hasn't done anything performance wise and music wise since 2016. So this is gonna be her first real pop out for real. So it's like, the more you think about it, it's like, okay, I can kind of understand, because I think the NFL is just giving these folks a platform to promote their brands and their music and the things they got going on. So, but to me, it's like these people are putting on a show at your event.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you give these people this money? But the residual that they get from these performances, especially, it's supposed to be like almost 200 million people watching the Super Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get those eyes on you regardless. And then shoot, honestly, most people only watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show anyway. So it's probably going to be 192 people watching the game. But then once the halftime come on, it's probably going to be over 200 million people watching.
Right.
So like probably 300 million people watching just to watch the performances. So it's like you get these 300 million eyes on you to be able to promote anything that you got going on. People might end up going and downloading your music from that, buying her beauty line from that, just kind of just going to follow her on social media from that. So it's like, I can kind of see where they're coming from, but it's still, to me, it's still seem kind of weird. What you think?
I think it's crazy.
I think it's crazy too, bro.
First off, the reason why I think it's crazy is I would like to think I am up to date on most of the things that happen within the sports world. Not as much as I used to be, but for the most part, yeah.
Likewise.
Right? But this is the first time I ever heard about Super Bowl halftime performers not being paid for the Super Bowl. To perform at a Super Bowl. And then what's even crazier is that some of them come out of pocket to help.
I was about to say that,
yeah. For the Super Bowl, for their Super Bowl performance. I mean, since 1993, there has been a Super Bowl performance. Michael Jackson was the first person to actually do the Super Bowl halftime show in the way that it is now, right? And since then, the Super Bowl has made sure that they've had somebody to the standard of Michael Jackson, because that Super Bowl performance was pretty amazing. He was popping out all over the stadium and whatnot, right?
It was crazy.
And so to think Michael Jackson doing all of that stuff and he didn't get paid for his performance, and then everybody else, Lady Gaga falling from the roof of the Houston, that was Houston, right? Whatever that Super Bowl was, she didn't get paid for that. Beyonce doing the performance she did, she didn't get paid for that. It's just crazy to think about that. But like you mentioned, when you sit back and you think about why the NFL can get away with doing this, and you start to realize, okay, I can understand why maybe they don't pay the performers at halftime, because again, like you mentioned, they get the residuals from the kickbacks of the streaming platforms. Even though we know streaming doesn't pay that well, pay artists that well, they do see an increase of their music being streamed on those different platforms, which is a check of some sort where it, the few or as much as it is, they see their tours. If they're on tour, they see those start to fill out more. People like the Beyonces of the world, the Taylor Swifts, Rihanna's about to go on tour. I think she said those tickets and those concerts was sold out before they even went on sale. But for somebody that is coming back, maybe like a Mary J. Blige, no shade to her, but she's a little bit older. She's not out there like that. She's taking more interest in her acting career than her music career right now. But she performed last year, and she saw increases in the attendance of her concerts and tour last year, as well as her streaming platform, her streaming services, or the music on the streaming services. They increased like 999%. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, for her to perform and stuff like that at the Super Bowl, it's great. But to just really just sit and think the Super Bowl is not paying you to perform is outrageous. And you might have to come out of pocket to have the production the way you want it. It's just crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about, because I was looking at a number. Remember The Weeknd put on that performance in 2021. His performance was actually pretty fire too. Yeah. He spent $7 million to fund his own Super Bowl halftime show.
Yep.
Like, to have all the mirrors that he had when he was doing his performance, and then they have to fund all of this stuff on their own.
Right.
But the crazy thing is that, like you said, his uptick in his ticket sales and his streaming platforms after that Super Bowl performance went up almost 500% too. I'm looking at 491% increase in his performance. So it's like, that $7 million that he spent, he's gonna get right back.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it's just weird. Like, the Super Bowl is a multi-billion-dollar company, and the Super Bowl just
the NFL. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar.
The NFL is what I'm going to say. NFL is a multi-billion-dollar company. The Super Bowl itself is going to bring them money as far as ticket sales, as far as viewers, of course,
the TV ads,
the ads, the apparel, the merch that they're going to sell just for the Super Bowl. Like, the NFL is going to get paid tenfold off of this. So why wouldn't you take some of those multi-billions and maybe even if the performers have to help fund the actual set and the performances themselves, if you're not going to pay them, at least pay for the setup.
Yeah, great. That's a great point.
So you give them the stage, but everything else they got to come out of pocket for. But go ahead. I'm listening. What you
so the thing that you were about to say, or the thing that you said, is at least give the people that set up the stage and stuff like that. So the NFL actually does pay for that, or the sponsor of the halftime show pays for that. So I read, it was in the Forbes article that the NFL or whoever sponsored the halftime show pays up to $13 million for that particular performance. And that goes not to the performer themselves, but it goes to the people that it's usually around 3,000 or so people that help set up the stage, that help move all the moving parts of the halftime show, setting the stage up, getting all the equipment in place, the dancers, and all that, the pyrotechnics, all that. That is what that money goes to. But the actual performer, if they want to add something else into it to get the performance how they want it, so it can get that pop and that bang and have people talking about their performance for years to come, they have to come out with the additional money in order to get that vision. But so that they do pay for the halftime show, they just don't pay the performers,
the actual performer themselves.
The actual performers, yeah. So it's just,
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just weird all around, man. Because you think about today's, in today's age, everybody's talking about either having equity in something or at least getting a good enough check in order to, say that this is what I did. Everything's about money these days, especially with the climate that we are as far as an economy, and every worried about being laid off, stuff like that. So you would think in the realm of doing good business, money is being exchanged for the services rendered by the performer, but apparently that's not the case. And like you said, for good reason, is because of all of the residuals that come back to the performer at the end or on the back end. It's a mutually beneficial agreement between the two. The NFL gets their performance at halftime from maybe a A-list celebrity or A-list performer, artist, and
Right.
then the artist, because they will have an average of 100+ million viewers watching their halftime show. They get all of that kickback towards the end or on the
For
back
sure.
end.
So that bears the question that I came up with this because I've never seen our boy J. Cole do a Super Bowl halftime show, right?
Well, you probably won't, but
I'm sure we won't. But
yeah.
does that bear the question as to why he hasn't? Because I was reading something because I was thinking when I was doing my research, I was like, well, damn, I never seen our boy Jermaine do nothing. So let me look it up and see has he ever done one because I never remembered him doing one, and he hasn't. But he's historically almost every year ESPN throws a Super Bowl party outside of the actual event itself, and he's always there with Drake, Jay-Z, and a couple of other big names as well. He does that almost every single year, and they have to pay him for his attendance. At least ESPN does. They actually have him at that party to put on a performance for the people. So, do you think this would be smarter for the people like Rihanna and the people like your Lady Gagas and your Justin Timberlakes and all these people who have done the Super Bowl halftime show a couple of times now that aren't getting paid for it and have to come out of pocket to do the actual parties away from the event? Because I think that's a little bit smarter. I mean, J. Cole getting paid, and well, in his eyes, it might not be a lot, but $500,000 to do a Super Bowl party outside of the event itself. Would that be smarter for him to get that money to put on the show, or come out of pocket $7 million to actually, fund the actual concert itself?
I think it depends on what type of celebrity or what type of artist is doing the performance.
True.
So, while we love J. Cole, in our eyes, he is an A-list performer, artist. He, in the grand scheme of things, he's not that type of performer, right? He's not
Agreed.
A-list performer. So I don't think he needs the money. I'm not saying he needs the money, but for somebody of his status, I think he would, if we're talking about what we know about the performers that do the halftime show, I think he would rather do the halftime show and get that kickback on the back end where he could potentially get more than $500,000 from performing at the Super Bowl, halftime Super Bowl, rather than performing outside of the Super Bowl where only a select few of eyes, now nowhere near 100 million eyes will see him, 100 million viewers eyes will see him performing his catalog of songs. So to answer your question, I think it depends on the person. So if you're like a newer artist, you might not be thinking that far down the line as far as the kickback that you could get from being the halftime performer. You would probably take that outside gig from ESPN and those various media groups to be performing outside the Super Bowl. But as you become more tenured and in the game, as they say, a little bit longer, you see the benefit of being the halftime performer that may potentially have to pay $7 million. Because Dr. Dre also mentioned he paid $7 million for his set last year. You may potentially have to pay $7 million, but after you perform, you'll probably get $25-30 million from streaming platforms and concerts and whatever else you're involved in, as we'll see with Rihanna with Savage Fenty and what's the other one? She got Savage Fenty, yeah. Whatever her lines of beauty and apparel are.
Yeah, but see, J. Cole is kind of like us though. He don't want to really be in the public eye like that. He actually pretty frugal himself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he much cares. To be honest, and I bear to go ahead and say on record that I think they probably asked him before to do it. Possibly.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I would see why they wouldn't.
I don't. I just don't know.
But they do. But seeing the history of the halftime show, it's been these people who put on these extravagant performances, and J. Cole is not that extravagant. Like needs the fire and wants to jump out of fucking holes in the floor and want to do all that. He's not that type of performer.
Right.
But as far as like the eyes that would be on the Super Bowl from his music and the people who would love him, I think he would draw just as much attention as a Rihanna would, as far as with his music and his catalog and the type of the message that he portrays in his music. So me, honestly, I'm gonna say he don't really give a fuck, but I think he benefits more from doing the parties as opposed to the halftime show. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me. Because I don't think just because of his demeanor, I just don't think he care.
You know him better than I do. But but I think he would rather go to the halftime. I think the opposite of what you said. I think he would rather be the halftime performer and get that kickback, from, get that kickback after the Super Bowl rather than performing at the Super Bowl for those parties outside of the game in the halftime show and just getting a set $500,000 or whatever his asking price is going to be. I think he would rather be that person.
We're gonna have to ask him once we start having guests and get him on the show. We're gonna have to ask him that question.
Yeah, 100%. But I just think, regardless of what this is and what we found, regardless of this, I can't talk today. It's still mind-boggling.
It is
that the NFL does not pay for their halftime performances. And my question is, how did they get enough power to do that?
Yeah, where are you drawing all this from? They got to have some high power generators in that motherfucker, I swear.
What I'm saying is how they get enough power as a corporation to say, we're not going to pay you, but we want you to be a part of our. Because before Michael Jackson, as I mentioned, in 1993, they had college marching bands performing their halftime show. And we know media is different than it was. It's different nowadays than it was back in the day. Everything has to be a spectacle, right? And everything has money flowing into it when it comes to media and stuff like that. But how do you say, as a corporation, I don't care who the person is that's performing, we not paying you, but you gonna come and do this and do it to the best of your ability, and then also you might have to come out of pocket if you want it to look like this. That to me. How do you as a corp? That's crazy to me. I'm sorry.
I think it's the age of. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. No, it's cool. I'm just still trying to wrap my head around the NFL is just like that. Like, yo, I'm swinging this. You ain't getting no money.
Yeah, I'm Big D around here, but nah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think it's more so the age of. It's like you said. It's like you said, 93. Whenever MJ put on that great performance, there wasn't no social media. There wasn't no Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Wasn't none of that. Right? But they still made MJ the big star that he was, pay for his performance.
Well, they ain't make him. Let's get that correct.
Well, true.
We talking about Michael Jackson now?
Yeah, he wanted it true. I agree. Let me back up. I apologize for my voice. I apologize.
Yeah.
But it's like he had to pay for his performance. But I think now it's like the age of technology now, and everything flows to social media, and everything is on the internet. That the more eyes you can get on something, on a product, on a person, on some music, on whatever your product is, the more eyes you can get on it, the more money, the more residual money in the future that you can make from it. So not too many people can perform in front of 300 million people. Right. So if the committee of the Super Bowl or the NFL, whoever, goes to Rhianna and says, listen, we going, saying, you've been out of the game for 7 years. So you still been doing your thing. You got your Savage Fenty, you got your beauty line, you got your clothing line, you got all that, whatever, but your last album was in 2016. You want to pop out, come do the Super Bowl, come do the halftime show. You know what I'm saying? And immediately, boom, you got 200 plus million people looking at you.
Right.
You might be able to even promote like your next album that might be coming out. You can still
Mm-hmm.
promote your beauty line. You can do all of that in the same breath of you performing. And people get to see you after the baby, and they probably put together a crazy pitch for her.
Right.
So it's like, but you know what I'm saying, just like the people back, you know what I'm saying, 30 years ago, you ain't getting no money.
Right.
We're gonna get you, we're gonna get you the setup and everything, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to do your own vision, you got to put in about 7 million, but you still gonna have that 300 million on you. And after today, your record sales gonna go up, your sales from your makeup gonna go up, your clothing gonna go up, everything gonna go up because you got 300 million people watching you.
Yeah.
So
And but
I think it's more so about perception than it is about the money itself, honestly. So that way you can build that residual.
And that's a good point. The last statement you just made is it's about the perception, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I would argue it was more beneficial for artists like Michael Jackson and before these streaming wars
Age,
came out,
yeah.
because you had to actually go to a store to physically buy a copy of somebody's album back in
Mm-hmm.
the day,
Mm-hmm.
which you would get more points. Um, you would get more points for the sale, and which means
Mm-hmm.
more money in your pocket. Like I mentioned
Yep.
earlier, we know that the streaming services don't pay that
As
well.
much. Yep.
You get like a hundredth of a penny for every stream that you get. What type of shit is that? So
Mm-hmm.
like me performing at the halftime show, yeah, my streams might go up, but I could have a million streams and only get, now this is exaggeration, I don't know the exact numbers, but get like $700 for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that back in the day it did make more sense, but now it doesn't. But for somebody like Rihanna though, it may make more it makes more sense for her because one, she's a billionaire, she doesn't really need the money as it is, but
Exactly.
not only is she going to have streams and tours or concert tours to fill, she also has an additional product that people can go buy, which is that beauty line and that lingerie
Mm-hmm.
set that she had, or lingerie company that she has.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an additional revenue that's going to go into her pocket other than just streaming. And so she has more pegs and cogs on the wheel than just music and streaming, which
Right.
yeah. So I would
And
argue
like I
that
said,
it's a
the more eyes that you get on something, especially through the streaming age, the more money you're gonna make in the long run just because of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is not a bad but it is still dumb weird that they're not paying these folk. It is weird as hell, but it's just like they
It's,
had that power because they are the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like I think
right.
people look at it as okay, these people are giving me a platform to promote myself, and
Yeah.
most people in these day and age now they have to promote themselves anyway, and it's on a smaller scale
Right.
than the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? The Super Bowl is one of the biggest scales of the year that you can actually
Right.
get your brand out there. So, in opposed to doing it all on your own, that's gonna take a whole year. Do that shit in one day. Get 300 million eyes on you. Your profit gonna go up crazy. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
So,
the Super Bowl Sunday, I'll wrap it up with this. Super Bowl Sunday is like big business all around. Food companies benefit from it. You have all these different type of brands, whether it's a car brand, food, drink brand,
mhm.
clothing brands, they all benefit from it because they have ads at the Super Bowl and they all compete for what's the best, most funniest, most heartstring pulling commercial of the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
and in turn that turns into dollars in their pockets. So I mean, I guess it's right. It is a
Super
win-win
big
for
business.
everybody. The Super Bowl can, you perform at a Super Bowl, you're gonna get some type of kickback,
Mhm.
and what type of kickback that is depends on how many streams of revenue or services or products you have out there that the
Mhm.
consumers can say, oh yeah, they performed at the Super Bowl. Oh, they're a part of this. Oh, this is their music. Let me go consume that. So I mean, I guess
Mhm.
as I mentioned, it is a very mutually beneficial agreement on both parties. But it's still, like you said, it's still kind of strange that they don't
It
pay.
is big strange, big strange. But it's like I said, man, it's big business, and you know, it's one of those complex situations where it's like you have to kind of really dig deep to find out exactly, what the thought process is, because you would have to ask somebody like Rihanna, like, why would you do that? Like, but
Yeah.
you can look from the outside looking in and say, this is why. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why we had it was a good time talking about this. But I know D-Lo said we was gonna wrap it up. Before we wrap it up, again, make sure you go and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go to Apple Music, Spotify, all your major streaming platforms, and go ahead and download that as well. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content.
The king breaks the record.
The fucking king, cuz.
Tuesday, February 7th, LeBron James broke Kareem Abdul Jabbar's almost 40-year all-time scoring record in the NBA. And I know you think that we're going to talk about the GOAT debate. Not happening today, at least. We're going to talk about. Oh, here we go. So we're going to talk about the letter that Kareem penned after LeBron broke his record, and talk about the relationship that these two have or don't have, and how Kareem expressing these feelings, how he actually feels about LeBron. So, Sticks, what did you gather from Kareem and this whole situation with him and LeBron with this letter that he wrote?
It was a couple of different angles that Kareem came from in that letter that he wrote, but I think it was more so a response to LeBron and the media than it was necessarily like I don't want to call it an apology, but I just wanted he was like responding to people who thought he was salty about the shit, basically. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it was very heartfelt because he touched on a couple of things as far as his relationship with Magic Johnson, his relationship with LeBron James, and his relationship with the record itself. So I feel like, of course as far as LeBron James is concerned, I think people coming into the season knew that it was going to be broken anyway. Because he only needed what, like 1,000 points coming into the season. I can't remember exactly how many he needed. But whenever he hit that fader in the third quarter, it seemed like the world stopped. Because I watched the whole game. And the reason why, some of the reason why people thought he was salty is because whenever they panned to Kareem's face, whenever he hit the jumper, he was just kind of stale faced like.
Yeah.
But you gotta understand, the man is 75 years old.
Right.
Kareem is 75 years old, bro. Like probably a little bit older. How old is Kareem? How old is he?
You're right. 75.
He's 75 years old. So it's like when he set the record, he was 37 in 84. That's whenever LeBron was born. And LeBron is 37, 38 now. So he about 76. So it's like you can't expect. I mean, some people at 76 are still spry and active and still got a lot of energy, but I don't think Kareem has ever been that person. Like looking at him back in the day when he was playing, he was kind of like Tim Duncan, like kind of like he was a businessman on the court. Like he didn't really speak much and really talk much junk, even though people do say he was one of the best trash talkers in the game. But he wasn't really that. He wasn't that person. He's not like he's not extroverted really at all, honestly. Yep. Now. But when they panned to his face after LeBron hit that jumper, he was kind of just stale faced. Like he was clapping, just cool. All right. But that's just who Kareem is. He wasn't salty. He was happy for LeBron. He came onto the court, gave him the ball and was like, yeah, say you the man now. This at the third, they dapped up, had a little conversation, but that's never been Kareem's demeanor for him to be super excited about something unless he's participating and he's winning. So, but I think his reaction, his letter was very heartfelt. Like he wished they had a better relationship with each other. He addressed Magic and saying that he thought he was going to be salty about it too. And he was like, nah, bro, you wrong. So I thought it was very heartfelt. What you think?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to feel about this situation. And the reason I don't know how to feel about it is because I too, like you, feel like the letter was heartfelt. It was well written. And I think Kareem understood that this situation needed him to interject his voice into it and to give his opinion. But I 100% agree. I 100% think that he feels some type of way about LeBron breaking his record. Maybe not about LeBron per se, and nothing personally about LeBron he doesn't like. But I think the record, he feels some type of way. I mean, that's nature. That's human nature, right? Anytime you set a precedent, while you want people to kind of live up to that expectations or get close to what you did, you never really want anybody to go above you. And so
Agreed.
I feel like he feels some type of way. He might not feel too much about it, but he definitely felt some type of way.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, he mentioned in the article, he mentioned how Magic Johnson, who is one of his long-standing friends,
40-year-old friend, man. Yeah.
right?
40-year
He
long
mentioned
friend.
how Magic says that he knows that Kareem feels salty. I tend to think your friends, especially a long-standing friend, knows who you truly are, no matter how you think you portray yourself or not. They know mostly what your feelings are. Like if I said one thing out in public, and then you knowing me how I am, you go tell somebody, nah, that ain't D-Lo, or yeah, D-Lo really
Mhm.
meant that.
Mhm.
Then for me, I'm like, well, damn, do I really? Is that really how I act? I mean, so I say that because I think Magic really knows who Kareem is. They might
Mhm.
not have the friendship that they had when they were playing together, but
Right.
if Kareem goes so much as to say Magic is one of his long-standing friends, along with Michael Cooper, and he mentioned somebody else in this article, then that means him and Magic have some type of a good relationship. So I think Magic really knows him the best. Um, but I also feel like in this article, Kareem, Kareem gave his voice, and what he meant in this article really had some legs because of how he took accountability for the relationship that him and LeBron don't have. And
Mhm.
so he says in the article, when he was talking about he was talking about his shortcomings as a person. He said, "By nature, I have never been a chummy, reach out kind of guy,
Mhm.
as the media has always is always quick to point out. I'm quiet, shy, and am such a devoted homebody that you think I am agoraphobic or I have agoraphobia.
Mhm.
Um, I like to read, watch TV, listen to jazz. That's pretty much it. For the past 15 years, my focus has been less on forming new relationships than on nurturing my old friendships with people like Magic, Michael Cooper, and Jerry West, and
Mhm.
so on. I think the main reason that I never formed a bond with LeBron, again, entirely my fault, is simply our age difference. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Um, I established my scoring record in 1984, the year LeBron was born. When he started to make a name for himself, I was already pretty removed from the NBA world, except for
Mhm.
certain gala events. I was just like any other fan watching games on my TV in my sweatpants while munching on too many unhealthy snacks. The
Mhm.
disconnect is on me.
Yep.
I feel like he gave valid points.
Yep.
He points out and is accountable. And sorry that I'm going on for so long,
No, you
but he
good.
points out and is accountable for who he is as a person. He's removed from the game. My age difference is my age different with LeBron. I came up in a different time than he did. Is one of the main reasons. I'm already socially awkward. I
Mhm.
may feel,
Mhm.
and he is who he is now. I'm removed from the game, even though we have so much in common. We're
Yeah.
completely two different people. I never was a person to reach out to anybody. So why should I feel like I need to reach out to him now?
Exactly.
When he's at the top of his game
Mhm.
and I'm not been in the NBA for 30, 40 years now.
Yeah, and he said he also went on to say after that, he did say the disconnect is on me. He said I knew the pressure he was under and maybe could have helped ease them a bit, but I saw that LeBron had a friend and a mentor in Kobe,
Right.
and I was just an empty jersey in the Raptors. I couldn't imagine he'd want to hang out with someone twice his age. How many people do? So I
Right.
can feel that because it's as I got older, I kind of looked up to a lot of my older relatives,
Mhm.
but I looked up to them as like father figures. Like they were like mystical creatures to be. Like I want to be like him. But as
Right.
far as like, and I had a relationship with them because they were family, and I feel like that's what Kareem and LeBron are. They're still family in the game of basketball.
Right.
That's a fraternity of sorts, right?
Mhm.
But to actually like, but the, to for me to want to hang out with my older relatives is like nah, I'm not gonna do that. So I wasn't
Right.
necessarily like going and chilling and spending an absorbent amount of time with them, but I looked up to them like for advice, and I would talk to them about things like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure that's what LeBron did with Kareem. But since
Mhm.
Kobe was a lot closer to his age, as Kareem kind of pointed out, he was only a few years older than LeBron. So that was more of his peer group. And he
Mhm.
had that mentor in Kobe anyway. So Kareem just said, "I'm gonna just sit in the shadows and I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna, I give advice and point on things whenever I'm called upon, whenever I'm asked." But he already has a great that he's looking up to and asking for advice already at Kobe. So why would I step into that? So
Yeah.
I kind of see that. It makes sense to me too. It makes sense to me too. But
Do you think he
yeah.
overthought the situation though? Because me as an overthinker, and I can put myself into Kareem's shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see how I can overthink a situation. Oh, my age is going to be an issue. Oh, I listen to jazz music. He listens to hip hop. Oh, he's this type of social activist. I was this type of social activist.
Mm-hmm.
All these things that could bring them together because they are more alike, I believe, than they are different. Um, oh, he plays for the Lakers. I used to play for the Lakers. But
Mm-hmm.
do you think he overthought the situation?
I think he did. I think he could. I think he definitely. It's a two-way street. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I think Kareem definitely overthought it, but I also think LeBron has some responsibility in this too. He has to take some accountability as well because if he wanted to have that relationship with Kareem, he could have. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because LeBron was asked about him passing the record. He was like, how do you feel about passing the record, and how do you feel about your relationship with Kareem? And he was like, no thoughts and no relationship, and that's all he left it at. And
Yeah.
Kareem said that kind of hurt, like, ouch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
dang, that kind of hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of the fact that that statement hurt him knows it makes you think that he wish he had a little bit more of a relationship with LeBron.
Yeah.
But he did say it was his fault though. So I think he did overthink it. They could have definitely had more connections with the game of basketball, with the social activism,
Mhm.
just the wisdom and the knowledge that he could have given LeBron moving forward and facing the GOAT debate type of thing,
Yep.
because Kareem is also in that too, so to
Yep.
speak. So he could have given him some more advice, but it's definitely an overthink for sure.
Yeah. I also think the media plays a big role in the separation of the two, or the relationship that they didn't have or they don't have. Because I mean, we know how the media is. They will take the smallest soundbite, the smallest whatever, and run with it to create a story, to create a narrative that, if two individuals have never met, but I'm reading in the newspaper or looking online or looking at TV that you said XYZ about me and I've never met you.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is how I think you actually think about me. And Joe Button said this in his podcast. Not in the degree of talking about the media. He was really talking about himself being a podcaster. But he was like, being a podcaster is tough because he said, you can F with a dude and say one small thing that may sound like you don't really F with him. And now he looking at you like you don't really fool with him, but you just telling your take on the situation. And that's how the media is, right? If you don't know
Mm-hmm.
somebody and the media ask them a question about whatever you did, you could like everything they do, but one small thing you don't agree with, you say I don't really agree with that, and now the media writes it and paints it how they want it to write it, and now this person who's never met you is like, oh, that's how you feel about me? All right, cool. I don't want nothing to do with you. So I
But do
think the
you
media
think they
has a
really never met though? Like I think they've met before. Like you said,
what I'm saying,
but they're not. They've been acquainted, but they don't have a friendship. Is what they're
right?
trying to
And
point out. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Okay, I shouldn't have said met, but
Yeah.
they don't have a true relationship, never had
Yeah.
a true relationship, and so if I don't have a true relationship with somebody, it's just a hey and hi and
High
bye.
and by.
You know what I mean? But I see that you talking about me in a way that I don't like. All we said is hi and bye. I don't really know how you truly think. Now I gotta just be like, all right, well, make sure I don't say hey to him next time, or make sure so make sure I'm standoffish to him now. So that's what
Hmm.
I'm saying.
Yeah. But when it goes to when he talks about Magic though, and how Magic said he would have been bothered He was like, but he said he's just gonna chalk it up to 40 years of a friendship because he was like, Magic knows how competitive I am. He played with me for a decade. He said he knows exactly how competitive I am. But he was like, that ain't me today. I'm 75. So the only time I ever think about the record is when someone brings it up. So I retired from the NBA 34 years ago. For the past 20, I've occupied myself in social activism, my writing career, my family, especially my grandchildren. He said if I had the choice for another 100 years or spend some he said if I had the choice of having my scoring record remain intact for another 100 years or spend one afternoon with my grandchildren, he said I'd be on the floor in seconds stacking logos and eating Uncrustables. So I think he wanted to get it out. I think
his big ass on the floor eating Uncrustables,
bro. I got some Uncrustables. It made me laugh when I read that too, because I got some Uncrustables in the refrigerator right now, bro.
100%.
This joint's low key fire. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. But see that bears the statement that I honestly didn't think. I don't think he cared, bro. I mean, as competitive as he is, like you said, you don't ever want nobody to be above you. You want to be level or above everybody. If you're competitive, if you have that competitive nature,
right?
So, as competitive as he is, and the dominant figure that he was in the NBA for decades, yes, I agree with you that whenever you see somebody reaching the pinnacle that you at, and then they all of a sudden pass you, you gonna feel some type of way. To be honest, bro, I don't think Kareem cared. That's just my opinion. I don't think he gave a fuck. To be honest, it was just like, okay, this is another day in basketball. LeBron is now the leading scorer in NBA history. He probably gonna score 40,000 points plus before his career is over. Nobody gonna be able to touch that motherfucker. Cool. I think it's gonna be crazy me saying this because if you ain't first, you're last. But I don't give a fuck that I don't think Kareem actually cares that he's second now. I don't think he cares. I honestly don't think he cares. The dude is so far. He's lived a great life up to 75 years old now, and he has everything he wants. He's writing. He's into social activism. He's spending time with his family. He's doing everything that he couldn't do when he was in the NBA. And now it's just like, bro, like that record literally lasted for 40 years, bro.
Yeah, I mean the game is so different now too.
When
he was playing early on, it wasn't a 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the de facto big man. Him, Wilt, and Bill Russell. Bill Russell, Wilt, and then him. I should say, and that's not in the greatness category. That's just the time that they were in the league.
They came in the league, yeah.
Right. And so, he scored all his points in the paint. LeBron, has scored his points all over the court, 3-point line in the paint, mid-range, stuff like that. So, I mean, the game is just different. So if he doesn't care, I would assume it was because of that regard. The game is different. But that man cares, man. I feel different than you.
I feel you.
He doesn't care so much to ruin who he is as a person or to let that affect his character, I don't think. But it bothers him that he spent 20 years in the league and now he has accumulated all those points and now he's not the all-time leading scorer of the NBA because somebody also spent 20 years in the league, but they came in the league when they were 18. When did he come into the league? Lou Alcindor, who is now no. Lou Alcindor, who is now Kareem Abdul Jabbar.
He played at UCLA. I think he played all 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. So he came into the league at 22, and when he retired, he was 42. That's a difference now. That's almost 5 years. LeBron's could basically still play another 4 years. And the way it's looking, he could play at a semi-decent high level for those 4 years and completely shatter this record. So he feels some type of way, you know what I mean? I don't care what nobody say. I know for sure I would feel some type of way, and I'm pretty mild-mannered. So, yeah.
Yeah, D-Lo be on this couch like, God, pass the record.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't even be at the game. I wouldn't be like Kareem. I would not be at the game. He can pass the record. You had the cameras in my face at the house. You had the cameras in my face at the house, but I'm not going to the game.
D-Lo ain't going. Ain't showing no support. Fuck that.
Yeah. Nah.
But nah. So I don't know if I want to say this.
Go ahead, bro.
because you said we won't have the debate. We ain't gonna have a debate. We're not gonna have a debate. We're not gonna have a debate.
You want to talk about that?
I don't. But I want to put some things out there, right?
Okay.
I want to put some things out there. LeBron is number one in scoring all time.
Okay.
And he would most likely play for like another 3 years, like you said, maybe 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he gonna go well over 40K. We can both agree to that, right? So
we would hope.
We would hope. Yeah. So number 4 in assists. 1,700 more. He can pass Jason Kidd for number 2 all time. I don't think he catching John Stockton. I feel like that's unattainable. I ain't gonna lie.
17 what?
1,700 more assists to pass Jason Kidd for second all time. If he plays 3 more years and keeps the same 7 assist average, he can reach that.
Okay.
Number 9 in steals.
Mm-hmm.
In them same 3 years, he only needs to average 1 a game to reach top 5 and possibly pass Jordan at top 3. Okay. Number 9 for steals. Number 9 in all-time 3-pointers made, but people always say LeBron ain't a shooter, right? He only needs 213 more 3 balls in these 3 years to reach top 5.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Listen.
That's all I'm saying.
The game is different though. In regards to the 3-point. So like
we also got him back there too. So let's not act like I ain't on both sides.
Cass won't able to freely shoot the 3-pointer back in the day like that. So,
Agreed.
And LeBron as of recently, not really. I mean, he was
for
MJ.
The better part of his career, he was able. He had the 3-point line available to him.
No, he had it available to him, but to freely shoot it within the offense is what I'm saying. Now, it's Michael Jordan who's going to take Michael Jordan out of the game, right? I understand that, but that just wasn't the game. I mean, we're talking about Reggie Miller is one of the all-time greatest 3-point shooters, and I think he barely shot 4 3-pointers a game. So, and now you got cats shooting 9, 10, 12 3-pointers a game. Maybe more.
Shooting 20 and making 12. Look at Klay Thompson the other day. He made 12. He was 12 or 18.
So that's what I'm saying, man. The game is just different. I don't want to get into that debate right now. I'm not prepared for that.
I just wanted to put some stats out there.
I'm not prepared for that. I mean, I rock with LeBron.
We have a way of getting LeBron into the podcast almost 100%, every single episode.
Almost because I mean he's so multifaceted with it, man. Business, basketball. He's so complex. There you go. Too complex.
He's too complex.
Feel me? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my dad would kill me if I said anybody else was, or he would disown me if I said anybody else was better than Michael Jordan.
Come on,
so I don't want to get in that argument right now. But we'll have it. Oh, we'll definitely have it.
We'll have it eventually. Oh, trust me.
We'll definitely have it. But yeah, so to wrap this all up, I don't really know how to feel about this situation because I feel like Kareem meant everything that he said in the letter, but it's easy to hide behind the pen and the paper and your true actions not really show. Because as we always say through text, that's not what I mean, man. I mean, I hope you ain't mad at what I just said.
Right.
So it's easy to get hide behind, get things misconstrued through text. But he is Kareem Abdul Jabbar. He was a meditator and all that stuff coming up. So maybe he does not feel any type of way about LeBron breaking his record. I don't think he has any qualms about LeBron, period, but I do think he feels some type of way about that record being broken.
Yeah, and I'm with D-Lo. If it were me in that situation, I would definitely be salty because I'm super competitive. I don't care if I am 75 years old, I'm still going to be competitive. But just through reading that column that he wrote, it's like I think he took a stance of why make it such a big deal. Why try to make me seem like I'm salty and I'm upset about the record? Why take that shine off of this man's moment whenever this is a tremendous moment in his career and for the game of basketball as a whole? So he was, he just wanted to make sure Magic understood that he won't upset. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm competitive, but I wasn't mad that it was broken. And just like D-Lo said, he might not have been mad, but maybe he felt some type of way like, damn, this motherfucker, I thought that was going to last forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, but then in the same sense, like put some onus on himself to let people know like what type of person that he really is. So that way people don't mistake it in the future. Like, you thought this about me. Let me put this on the table and say, hey, this is the type of person I am. I'm real laid back. I've spent time with my family now. I don't, I still watch the game of basketball, but I'm not as engulfed in it as far as like the personal appearances and stuff like that. And actually getting relationships with these newer guys. That's not my type of personality. So just so y'all know, moving forward, don't assume you have this now as a reference to know how I really am.
Right.
But I personally don't think that I don't think he really gave a fuck me personally. But just like you said, if you got a competitive nature, you probably was like, damn, that's my fucking record. I had that for the last almost 40 years. Damn, why you got to pass it now? So I can dig it. I can see both sides.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if you fooling with that segment, you like what we said. If you don't like what we said, make sure you go to our socials, leave the comment, like, and subscribe.
And also, too, if you want to read the actual letter that we're referencing to, I'll put the link in the description below so that way you can go check it out yourself.
Yep. All right, Six. So, we mentioned last week that we are going to change our name from Pardon My Wisdom to Too Complex.
Yes, sir.
We released that news, and we also said in the following weeks, we try to release as much information that we can about where we are with the name change, with the brand change. So what's up, man? What have we been up to the last week, or with the podcast and the brand change?
So as of right now, we have a pretty good direction as far as logos that we want to have for our platforms, as far as social media, YouTube, things like that. Shout out to my boy. You know who you are if you're watching. So we have those things in line so far.
Shout him out. Shout him out. Give him his due.
His name is Ayo Big Sosa on Facebook. Check him out. He does a lot of really, really good work. Like, whenever y'all see what he put together for us, man, like, hey, Sosa, I appreciate you, my boy. Keep doing your thing, because we're gonna keep using you for the future. We're gonna make sure we hit you up when we need some things. But
don't be mad at me, man. I try to get stuff right, man. That's all. Listen, that's why I wanted you to shout him out, Sticks, because I know he probably look at me like, bro, Sticks, who this dude you work with, man? I'm sorry, man.
He want to make sure we got it together, and as fast as a decision that I make, I'm glad I got D-Lo on my side, because he gonna make sure that we making the right decision. Because I'll be snappy. Sometimes I'm impulsive, but D-Lo is he's a little bit more well thought out. So I'm glad he got me. I got him on my side to help me with these things. So
I got a lot of good people in my corner, bro. That's all.
There you go. So Sosa, everybody go look him up. Ayo Big Sosa on Facebook. Just hit him up. He's available to do any work for anybody, man. As long as you got a good vision and a good direction, he'll work with you. So he got some I can't wait till y'all see these logos. We got a couple of tweets we still got to make to him, but we're ready to drop everything within the next couple of weeks. I'm guessing, D-Lo, you think next couple of weeks?
Yeah. I feel like we'll be good then.
Yeah. So next couple of weeks, we're going to drop the logos for the socials and the YouTube. We're still looking at some different opportunities as far as logos for merch that we're thinking about putting out as well. So for all of our loyal listeners, we eventually going to have some hats, shirts, hoodies, definitely hats, because we wear a hat every single week. So we definitely going to have hats for sure. For
more reasons than one. For me, not Sticks. Oh man,
no comment. So
yeah.
But we're gonna definitely have the merch coming in soon as well. I wanted to start a conversation with you about website eventually, as well as, of course, the business and everything that's coming down the line too, man. So we got a lot of good things coming, man. Too Complex is gonna be a brand. It's gonna make a statement, bro. It's gonna make a statement. I think everybody who faithfully listens to our our content is gonna enjoy the Too Complex name, the Too Complex brand that we're building for ourselves, man. I think y'all gonna love it for real. What you think, D-Lo? What you got?
I have nothing to add. Everything that you said was exactly what I was going to say. We're in the process. Me and Sticks go back and forth. It's healthy. Healthy, constructive. Sure. At times it may seem, because we text and 2 different time zones, so at times it may seem like we're not on the same page, but
Mhm.
we're on the same page. It's just,
Always, yeah.
like we mentioned earlier, we're trying to make sure this is right because we don't want to do this again. We
Right.
may change the logo, not change it, but tweak it here and there. But we don't want to do a complete rebrand
Rebrand again.
of who we are anymore because that's just going to cause confusion for you all, right? So, um, we're just trying to make sure we got it all together. That's all. And so in the next coming weeks, as Sticks mentioned, we will um, release the logos and different stuff like that. The merch is probably going to take some time for us to
That's a
actually get
process for
into
sure.
all of that. That's still a process, but we do have plans on doing that and making this a business. And like I said last week, hopefully once all of this comes together, and since we're documenting this the way we are, hopefully it could be a playbook in our point of view for others that come behind us and how they can either start a podcast or start some type of content creation or
Mhm.
rebrand for content. So
Yeah, hopefully this, like you said, it'd be something for people to look at and be like, okay, this is the way you need. This is the successful way to do a rebrand. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
or
And
if it's not successful, okay, this is what not to
this is
do.
what not to do.
But
But
we're not gonna be that.
hell no, we're not gonna be that because we've done it. We've done it successfully so far. I feel like, and I think
Hmm.
y'all feel like as well that we've put together a pretty good podcast to where you guys can listen and get a pretty good point of view of what's going on in the world of sports and entertainment. So part of my wisdom was a successful brand in itself. But like we said last week, we feel like we talk about such complex topics that part of my wisdom, as good of a name and as good of a brand as it was, it didn't really fit the direction that we were going. So we had to make a conscious change. And D'Lo had been pushing forward for a while, and if I finally weeks later had a connection like, yo, you right, bro, let's do that. So me and D'Lo are usually on the same page, and like you said, we talked through text, and just like Kareem, we wanted to make sure we want to make sure we set a standard for each other as far as communication, so that way we can be on the same page at all times to bring you all these bangers
Dang,
every
that hurt.
single week. My bad, bro.
All good. You just caught me off guard there. You good?
But we want to make sure we bring y'all this content, man, that we put all of our heart and our soul into, man. And we want y'all to feel that too. So we gonna make this thing pop for y'all to the best of our ability, and hope y'all bang with it, man. And I think y'all are. I think y'all are banging with it.
100.
100.
All right, man. Episode 17 done.
Episode 17.
This has
Sir.
been Pardon My Wisdom, soon to be Too Complex. We hope that you enjoyed today's show, right? You can find us, as we've been mentioning throughout the whole show, on any of your major podcast streaming services. Make sure when you get there that you subscribe and leave some ratings for us. That helps us to get found. You also can follow us on all of the major social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And remember, if it ain't too complex, it ain't complex at all. We appreciate your support. And until next time, salute.
Salute. Yeah.